What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Broke Girls Art School. In today's episode, I will be showing how to stencil a portrait onto a slab of wood, and you could use this for portraits of people, portraits of animals, or pretty much any image that you'd want to put on there. So make sure to drop a comment. Let me know if this method worked for you guys and any other ideas for videos you'd like to see. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get started. All right, guys, so first I'm gonna be going over the different supplies that you'll need in order to transfer your image. The kind of wood that I like to use is basswood country rounds. These are from Walnut Hollow, and you can get them at either like a Hobby Lobby or Michael's. But when shopping for wood, always make sure to check for dark spots like this, because that'll definitely get in the way if you're doing a portrait. I was still able to get this one because the other side was fine, but yeah, always double check for that. Next, you're gonna need your tracing paper. My favorite brand to use is Strathmore. I found that this kind is much less likely to tear while you're transferring the design. Grab yourself a pencil, pen. You're going to need a quarter, an eraser, some painter's tape, or any kind of tape really, and then some kind of LED surface to trace off of. I like to use my iPad, but you could also use like a laptop or computer screen, or you could also like mirror an image on your TV and trace it that way. Lastly, I do like to wear a little glove on my right hand, or if you're a lefty, your left hand, with the fingers cut off, because this keeps me from smearing the graphite while I'm sketching on the stencil. So yeah, let's get started. All right, guys, so the first thing you're gonna wanna do is put your tracing paper on top of your slab of wood, and then you're gonna wanna trace around the edge of where you'll be burning, so you know how big to enlarge the image. And then once you have the outline traced with that, I'm gonna grab my picture here that I'll be burning, and always make sure to flip your image before you trace it on here, because when you flip this back over onto the slab of wood, it'll be going the opposite way. And I just always like to have them looking how they were in the original photo. So I think that's important. So I'm gonna line this up here and enlarge it. So turn off the light so you can see it a little bit better. But I'm gonna enlarge it until it's a good size to where both the heads are still fitting in there, but they're as big as they possibly could be, because the bigger you can make the image, the more detail you'll be able to get into it. All right, I'll turn the light back on so you guys can see. And then I always like to do another screenshot once I have it the perfect size, so that way if it gets zoomed out on accident, it's easy to get it back to its original size. So I'm gonna put this tracing paper on top of my iPad, and then go ahead and grab your tape. Tape it down on both sides. Make sure it's nice and tight. You don't want this to be sliding around while you're stenciling your image on. You want to make sure it's nice and consistent. All right, so now that we have both sides taped down, I always recommend turning off the lights in the room while you're tracing the image, because the light comes through the screen so much better. So yeah, when you're going over and outlining everything, like I said, this is just a regular pencil. You just want to go the outlines of, ear, hair, nose, mouth, and make sure that you also get like all the wrinkle lines, all the shadow lines. You don't want to leave anything out, because it will all help you while you're working on the actual burn. And I always recommend keeping a sharpened pencil, because the cleaner that your stencil is, the easier it'll transfer. You don't want it to be messy when it's going onto the wood. All right, so I'm gonna speed this up a little bit, you guys, while I'm stenciling. Right, guys, and the devil's always in the details, so make sure you literally mark every little line on the clothing, you know, the stuff in the background. Literally any shadows you see in the hair, all of this stuff will come in handy when you go to burn it, and you won't have to question where your shades and shadows will start and stop. All right, and then when you're done tracing the lines of your image, you can go ahead and take this tape off, but don't throw it away because you're going to be using it again in a minute. This tape. All right, my iPad. And then you're going to grab your slab of wood and line up the image how you want it. Flip it around like this. And it'll be a little bit more centered. All right, then when you have it placed nicely, go ahead and flip over. Make sure to not move the stencil paper around, and lay it back down, and then grab those pieces of tape that you were just using and rip it up into a few different slices. And then start folding back the corners and taping it really tight onto the back of the wood. All right, so now you're gonna wanna grab your quarter. Let me focus that real quick. All right, and then you're gonna wanna lay your quarter down flat and just rub it over the image. All right, and then after I run over it with the quarter flat, I'll tilt it up on its side. And really make sure that you're getting over all the lines. And you want to use a pretty firm pressure, but don't do it too firm because you don't want it to, for one, tear the paper or leave an indent in the wood. And I usually like to go a couple different directions just to really make sure that I hit all the lines. Alrighty, so that should be good. So now you can go ahead, take off your tape. And voila! There is your image transferred onto wood. As you can see, we have all those lines in there to mark all the different shadows, wrinkles, hair shadows, you name it. We got it in there. Thanks again for checking out another episode of Broke Girls Art School. If you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment and I'll make sure to get back to you. And don't forget to like and subscribe to see some future content. Thanks, guys.